All in the game.
Hey, how y'all doing? Big John here. Welcome back to another episode of It's All in the Game. Got my Saints gear on today. Funny story, this shirt, I don't know if it's a funny story or not. I bought this shirt off somebody trying to hock in the parking lot of a gas station. They walked up to my van. They had two Saints jerseys. I mean, this is a real legit, authentic, jersey. Walked up to me. I was sitting in my minivan. My girl had walked in to pay for something. She said, "Want to buy these Saints jerseys?" I said, "Baby, I really ain't got no cash on me." I didn't. I had about $9 or $10 on me, like $5 and a couple ones. I said, "Really, I ain't got no money. What are you trying to get for them?" She said, "I don't know, like $30 a piece." I said, "Look, I don't know." I said, I'd love to, but all I got is about $8 or $9 on me. She said, "Sold." I said, straight up. She said, "Yeah, I'll sell you that for $9. I pulled it out, and all I actually had was $7. She said, "Sold." So I bought this Saints jersey for $7 off the lady in the gas station parking lot. Anyway, so I got a couple channels on YouTube that I watch a lot, and I'm gonna do a little bit of half-ass plagiarizing today. So this is from a dude named this guy's content is fucking awesome. Okay, and his channel's called Beau of the Fifth Column. So the topic is about what it means to be a Republican. All right, we have lately I've been talking a little bit about how divided our country is, and we have two main political parties that publicly stand up primarily for pretty opposite things, and generally speaking, it's the Democrats who are more inclined towards welfare and more socialist type programs, government spending on the people, and Republicans are more opposed to that. So if we look back at our history, I'm talking 20th century history here. The New Deal was something that FDR implemented to help get America out of the Great Depression, and it has been, touted as one of the greatest, social accomplishments, political accomplishments, by Democrats and really historians alike. It really helped push America forward out of the Great Depression. So after FDR died in his unprecedented fourth term as president, the only president in history that served those terms, they made exceptions because of the war, of course. After FDR died, Truman took over, and Truman was an extension of FDR, but a lot of the real New Deal insiders that had been around when Truman was in, a lot of the real New Deal supporters, a lot of the real New Deal insiders that was around when FDR was in office really didn't believe that Truman was up to the task of accomplishing what it was that FDR had set out to accomplish. So they looked and they sought out someone who they believed was up to that task. And you know who they reached out to? You know who they looked for? You know who they reached out to? Take a guess. I'm going to tell you, okay? They reached out to Eisenhower, a Republican. And Eisenhower was a big supporter of the New Deal, all right? He supported almost every aspect of it and continued to support almost every aspect of it into his presidency. Eisenhower strengthened Social Security. Eisenhower raised the minimum wage. He initiated the largest public works project in history, something you might have heard of, called the interstate system. And when it was time for him to leave his mark on history, which department do you think this military man created? It was probably something in the Pentagon, right? No. What Eisenhower created when he left was the Department of Health, Education, and Human Welfare. Okay, he understood what it was like to see people suffering. And he didn't look at the poor and the marginalized people and say, these people aren't working hard enough. They must have done something to deserve this. If they would just make better choices for themselves, if they would just pick themselves up by their bootstraps, they'd be okay. They would have what we have. He wanted to help give people a hand up. He wanted to help the downtrodden. Eisenhower understood that the idea behind the United States, that the function of the U.S. government, is that it is there to serve the people, not the other way around, not the people serving the state. And during his entire tenure as presidency, during Eisenhower's entire tenure, he only deployed combat troops one time. I mean, this guy was a general. He's a military man. He only deployed combat troops. He only deployed troops into combat one time, into Lebanon. He had some faults. He allowed the CIA to do some pretty fucked up shit in the name of, trying to stomp down communism. But this guy generally is looked at as a great Republican president. But when we're looking back, when Republicans are acknowledging him and laying claim to him, they have to acknowledge and lay claim to everything that he did. And everything that he did, everything that made Eisenhower a great president, are now things that Republicans stand against. So when it came time for Eisenhower to leave office, he had been seeing how defense industry insiders and how corporate insiders were gaining more and more influence and more power in Washington. What he warned against in his farewell address was what he saw coming. He warned against a military-industrial complex. And that's exactly what we've seen then. A military-industrial complex, meaning something that is driven by profit and ends up creating basically perpetual war. And that's exactly what we've seen since then. And not just war in the way that we think of war, but war on a domestic level. I mean, I've been talking about this more and more. This is what the focus of this channel is. But our police force now is part of this military-industrial complex. So when I talk about supporting banning the police or defunding the police, I'm not talking about getting rid of the enforcement of laws or making sure that there aren't people there to protect our society. I'm talking about stripping down the programs that we have now. I'm talking about stripping down this military-industrial complex that we have patrolling our streets. And that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what's been going on. What Eisenhower realized is that the U.S. government, our democracy, the way that it is structured, the state is there to serve the people, not the people serving the state. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all doing well out there. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I wouldn't want you missing anything. All right. Big John told you so. It's all in the game.